Hi, I'm Tiffany Domino. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my website is howtoentrepreneur.org, and my mission is to help you grow a business from idea to enterprise. So if you or someone you know wants to start or grow a business, definitely stop by howtoentrepreneur.org and check out my free e-course. It's a framework to help you grow a business from idea to enterprise. So today I want to talk to you about 67 Jim Rohn quotes on leadership, attitude, teamwork, and success. So if you're looking for Jim Rohn quotes to inspire you in leadership, attitude, teamwork, or success, you're in the right place. Here you'll get Jim Rohn quotes as well as his biography, book recommendations, and some actionable takeaways. So we all have that point in life where we're trying to find our direction. Some of us want to go in the same direction as our parents, but there's still a period where we're trying to make our adulthood a snug fit for us. For those of us that want to go in a different direction than our parents or grandparents, we may have even more challenges because we're trying something we may not have seen firsthand. And we're trying to adapt to new day-to-day habits. Many people don't get past this period of self-actualization and achieve what they feel they could. If you fail to push the limits of your ability, explore, and learn so you can become the best version of yourself, you later live with the pain of regret. It can be hard to navigate yourself to success without a good attitude and good compounding actions. But where do you learn about the habits of successful people so you can begin to adapt? You learn from people like Jim Rohn and others who share their advice. If you push the limits instead of living with regret, you can look back on a full life with little to no regrets. So which one will you choose? So who is Jim Rohn? Growing up as an Idaho potato farmer's child, no one would have forecasted the levels of success he'd achieve. Jim Rohn was born on September 17, 1930 to Emmanuel and Claire Rohn. He had a very humble childhood, went to local schools, had no record of wealth or a golden spoon. In fact, by the time he was 25, he was deeply in debt as a new father and husband. He struggled with how he would provide for his family, which surely meant his young adulthood was a financial struggle until he found a mentor. He was invited to a seminar by the late Earl Sheoff, which was the beginning of several upward compounding events in his life. Sheoff started mentoring Rohn, explaining self-responsibility, defining his circle of influence, and holding him accountable to goals and milestones. Sheoff mentored Rohn for 5 years before he passed away, and before he died, he dared Rohn to become a millionaire. After just 1 year of the dare, Jim Rohn reported that he'd become a millionaire. In the 1960s, Rohn moved to Beverly Hills, California, where he began storytelling at the local Rotary Club meeting. In his childhood, he had learned storytelling from his dad, so he took this skill and began telling the story called Idaho Farm Boy Makes It to Beverly Hills. He amassed an upward spiral of attention from telling that story, and eventually launched his self-development business and speaking career from that. Other notable achievements of Jim Rohn include: he held seminars for 39 years where he influenced 4 million people and 6,000 audiences. He won CPAE Award from the National Speakers Association. He wrote more than 25 books, audios, and video programs. He is credited as the mentor to much of today's self-development industry, including Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Mark Victor Hansen, T. Harv Eker, Chris Widener, Mark R. Hughes, and many more. So, why should these Jim Rohn quotes be valuable to you? There is a mindset and discipline that stand as the foundation for success regardless of industry. Oftentimes, as you're in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day affairs, your mentality can shift into a negative spiral. When your mentality is off, you tend to go into a negative action spiral and waste time. If you have mantras or quotes that you can reference to help refocus yourself, it can help you to stay on track to achieve your goals. These Jim Rohn quotes can serve as mental fuel. Motivation can help to reverse negative thought habits and take control of your life. So here goes some Jim Rohn quotes on leadership. He says, if you want to be a leader who attracts quality people, the key is to become a person of quality yourself. So the challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, have humor but with folly. So it's a balancing act to be a good leader. A good objective of leadership is to help those who are doing poorly to do well, and to help those who are doing well to do even better. Jim Rohn has some quotes on sales as well. He says, profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune. He says, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Life and business is the changing seasons. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Therein lies the opportunity to live an extraordinary life, the opportunity to change yourself. Time is more value than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. And he says money is usually attracted, not pursued. Wow, so the people who are pursuing money and pursuing being rich, those are the people who don't attract it. It's attracted to you. Okay, so Jim Rohn also has quotes on attitude, goal setting, and motivation. So he says, these attitude diseases are like weeds that grow in the garden. It's a normal part of life. Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. And here's the next part. You must learn to handle the negative. So those are the attitude diseases, as he calls them, that are like weeds. Negative is normal. So you got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it, but you do have to handle it. The minute you were born, you got into the war of good and evil. I want to go back to this one where it says you got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it, you don't have to dwell in it, but you do have to handle it. Because a lot of people only want to see the good side. And when something negative happens, they don't have the coping skills to overcome it. So then they turn to something like drugs, or they turn to something like overeating, or different things like that, because the coping skills aren't there for them to actualize the scenario and to come up with a solution for it. So he said you have to learn to deal with it. You can't just write it off. You can't just drink and hope that it pauses or it falls away. You have to learn how to walk through it, even if it's baby step at a time. But you have to actualize the pain and actualize the reality of the scenario and develop a strategy to go through it instead of trying to go around it or deflect it. He says, if democracy sleeps, guess who never sleeps? Tyranny. In the absence of light, guess what sets in? Darkness. If good does not arouse itself and become active, guess what does? Evil. It's a war. So we need to be arousing good and becoming active so that evil does not take over. Learn how to be happy with what you have while you pursue all you want. So learn how to be content in your current circumstance. A lot of people get into trouble, and myself included, when we are constantly thinking about what we want and not being present and appreciating what we have. Regardless of how much money you get, or how much time you get, or how many relationships you get, or how famous you become, you always have to be able to have that contentment, because there will always be something better. So practicing that contentment and learning how to be happy with what you have while you're in pursuit of what you want is really key. No one else makes us angry. We make ourselves angry when we surrender control of our attitude. So we have complete control of our attitude. While people can provoke us, and they can definitely egg us on and be a stimulus, but we still have control of our attitude, and we have control of our anger. And if we surrender control because of what they did, then they didn't make us angry. We allowed ourselves to be angry. He says, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And I've seen that happen where people have dreams and they say, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. And they don't exercise the habit change and go through the trials that it takes to reformulate and to tell themselves no when they to exercise that discipline, to push past their willpower and say, I'm going to do this because I want to achieve this goal or make this accomplishment. So discipline is that bridge, is that push, because when you start something new, it doesn't start off easy, whether that is learning how to walk, whether that is learning how to ride a bike, whether that is learning how to play chess, or learning how to blog, or learning how to do videos. Whatever it is, it doesn't start out easy. And so you have to be able to bridge between with that discipline in order to get to your goals and accomplishments. He says, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Isn't that true? Happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It is something you design for the present. Again, contentment. Happiness isn't something that you say, once I get here, I'll be happy. No, it's something that you have to decide in the present moment. You have to address everything in the present moment and learn how to be content. We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So either you buckle down and you discipline yourself, or you have regret in the long run. You don't want to be the person who said, I wish I had of, man, I wish I could have, or looking back at things, wishing that the present would be different. Because the reality is that, like I did a video a few days ago on Darren Hardy and the compound effect, the reality is that you have to make choices, and your choices are like building bricks. Each one, even the ones that seem like they don't make that much of a difference, like whether or not you wake up in the morning, or whether or not you wake up early, or whether or not you eat a healthy breakfast or a healthy lunch. When you actually practice those things the first time, it doesn't seem like it's making much of a difference. But if you continue to practice bad habits, those bricks continue to build and continue to build until you start to see signs either for or against your ultimate goals. So you don't want to have the pain of regret because you've been building negative bricks. You want to have the pain of discipline because you sacrificed, you made a way, you persisted towards goals that you had. He says, if you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. So, I think Dave Ramsey says it like this. He says, how does he say it? He says you have to live like no one else so you can live like no one else. That's what he says. So, and basically you have to do what is not normal. You have to risk being unusual so that you can, you don't want to have to settle. You want to be extraordinary. So if you are not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary. So, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I believe that. So wake up and make the sacrifices that you would do for a job, but do that for yourself. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. So when you're working towards something, if you don't work towards it urgently and you just kind of keep delaying, well, in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years, then the desire it goes away. So you have to put a sense of urgency behind it, because otherwise it gets boring trying to wait on it. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. So if you continue affirming something and believing that something is going to happen, but you don't discipline yourself and buckle down to actually take action, that's the beginning of delusion. You're delusional. It's not going to happen unless you buckle down and take action. Affirming it will not do it. It won't do it. A lot of people say, well, I have faith, and really they have optimism, because you got to have deeds even with faith. So take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. That's a good one. The major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes of you to accomplish. What it makes of you will always be the far greater value than what you get. So set a goal because it helps you to accomplish things. It helps you to hold yourself accountable. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of spirituality. Searching and learning is where the miracle process all begins. Learn. To solve any problem, here are 3 questions to ask yourself. First, what could I do? Second, what could I read? And third, what could I ask? That's a good one. So to solve any problem, sit down and ask yourself, what could I do? What could I read? And who can I ask? Or who could I ask? Take time to gather up the past so that you will be able to draw from your experience and invest them in the future. So I think in my video on building your confidence, I talked about one thing that helps to build your confidence is to really pull from your past those experiences, the things that you have done before, and then you can reflect on those to say, well, if I can do this, then I can probably do this too. So he's saying take time to gather up the past so that you'll be able to draw from that and invest them into your future. So you're leveraging the accomplishments of your past to build towards your future. It is the set of the sails, not the direction of the wind, that determines which way we will go. It is the set of the sails, not the direction of the wind, that determines which way we will go. Now, the wind is external, and so a lot of people don't believe that they have the control of where they're going to go. But the sails are part of the ship, and the sails are what controls the direction, not necessarily the wind. So he's saying we have control. Don't just read the easy stuff. You may be entertained by it, but you will never grow from it. The book you don't read won't help. That's 2 separate ones. Don't just read the easy stuff. You may be entertained by it, but you will never grow from it. And then he says the book you don't read won't help. Happiness is not by chance, but by choice. It's a choice. Give whatever you are doing and whoever you are with the gift of your attention. So, Your attention is a gift. And a lot of times, because we have phones and tablets and all of these things, we can fail to see the people that are actually there and fail to give them the attention. But he's saying, give whatever you are doing and whoever you are with the gift of your attention. Focus on who it is that you're with. Focus on what you're doing. Can you imagine if I was trying to be on my phone and trying to do this video at the same time? It wouldn't be as effective. But because I've focused my attention on doing this video, it can be a lot more effective, because I can tell you these quotes, and I can explain them. I can not be distracted or distract you from the actual point of the message. So, focus, in summary. So he says, giving is better than receiving, because giving starts the receiving process. And you learn this in business. You see a lot of businesses who say, come in for, or start with your free trial. I'll give you this for free, because they know that generosity is what causes people to feel that sense of wanting to reciprocate or build that trust. So giving is better than receiving, because giving starts the receiving process. So learn how to be generous first, and the generosity will magnetize people to you. And that's where you can start the receiving process. It isn't what the book costs, it's what it will cost you if you don't read it. So Jim Rohn has some quotes on teamwork as well, and this is a few of them. He says, don't join an easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. Take advantage of every opportunity to practice your communication skills, so that when important occasions arise, you will have the gift, the style, the sharpness, the clarity, and the emotions to affect other people. Effective communication is 20% what you know and 80% how you feel about what you know. You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. That is something you have charge of. And you find this a lot with a lot of successful people. They take a lot of personal responsibility instead of deflecting the blame on the car broke down, or the kids did this, or this was happening. They take a lot of personal responsibility. He says you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. So at any point you can decide to change the direction from where you are, and that you want to point your direction somewhere else. If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. Whoever renders service to many puts himself in line for greatness, great wealth, great return, great satisfaction, great reputation, and great joy. So whoever renders service to many puts himself in line for greatness. Let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. A few who do are the envy of the many who only watch. One of the greatest gifts you can give to anyone is the gift of your attention. You only have so much of it. So you have to be careful who you give that attention to. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I think that's one of his most popular quotes. He says, maturity is the ability to reap without apology and not complain when things don't go well. So being mature is the ability to reap without apology. So even if someone does something to you and they don't apologize, you can still reap, you can still rebound, and you don't complain when things don't go well. So that is definitely a paradigm shift, because most people do hold it until they hold grudges and resentment and everything else until they get an apology. But he's saying, as a mature person, you have the ability to reap without that apology and not complain when things don't go well. I think I might still have some work to do. He says, I will take care of me for you if you will take care of you for me. Okay, so here goes some quotes that Jim Rohn has on success. He says, you cannot make progress without making decisions. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Motivation alone is not enough. If you have an idiot and you motivate him, now you have motivated an idiot. Days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend. So make sure you spend each one wisely. Time is finite. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. So don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Either you run the day or the day runs you. The worst thing one can do is not to try, to be aware of what no one wants and not to give in to it, to spend years in silent hurt won't. Okay, let me start over. The worst thing one can do is not to try, to be aware of what one wants and not give in to it, to spend years in silent hurt, wondering if something could have materialized, never knowing. So that's another thing about regret. Just having the ideas in your head and never taking action on them, and then never knowing how it would have turned out. That's the worst thing one can do, is what he's saying. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. If someone is going down the wrong road, he doesn't need motivation to speed him up. What he needs is education to turn him around. So someone who's going down the wrong road doesn't need to be motivated. They need to be educated. He says success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. So success requires an evolution. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Success is steady progress towards one's personal goals. Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Instead, failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. If you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you. Whatever good things we build end up building us. He says excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Ouch. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. That's a good one. Miss a meal if you have to, but don't miss a book. Successful people have libraries. The rest have big screen TVs. And if you've never listened to Jim Rohn before, you should definitely check him out. I've created a playlist with different Jim Rohn interviews, different Jim Rohn speeches, and things so that you can check out Jim Rohn for yourself. He has a lot of great advice, and like I said, he's been the mentor of several very successful people that you're probably familiar with, including Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield. So if you'd like to hear more from Jim Rohn, in addition to this playlist, I've also made a list of some of his best books that are 5-star rated on Amazon. And so you can check these out. And if you click on any of these links, these are affiliate links. So if you purchase any of these from How to Entrepreneur or from the website, we would be compensated for that at no additional cost to you. So, here goes the Ultimate Jim Rohn Library at Audible. 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn, the 12 Pillars, Seasons of Life, Building Your Network Marketing Business if that's something that you're doing, and The Art of Exceptional Living. So, some final words. The goal of this video was to show you Jim Rohn quotes that you can use to motivate yourself and change your habits. Sometimes we need a little inspiration to help change the direction of our thought spirals. If you know anyone who needs inspiration or who is trying to change their habits and needs a little support, send this post over to them or send this video over to them. A few good mantras can really change the mood of someone's day. So if you have questions or concerns about this, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to help you out. And if you would like to start or scale your business, check out my free e-course. It's a framework to grow a business from the very beginning idea into an enterprise. And you can check out the free e-course here. So that's all I have for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more like it, where I do product and service reviews, buyer's guides, and growth strategies to help you grow a business from idea to enterprise, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified of upcoming videos. So that's all I have, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye.